All right, what are we doing? All right. Okay, stop. What are we doing? Okay. Huh? Yeah, we're gonna get into this window washing thing, and we're going down. Oh, Brenda.
When I first read The First Wives Club in the 1990s, I was exactly the wrong audience for it. I was in my 20s, newly married, optimistic as all get out, completely convinced that stories like this happen to other people. Then the movie came out. It was funny, sharp, witty, filled with unforgettable performances by Diane Keaton, Goldie Hawn, and Bette Midler. I laughed. I rooted for them. Then I left the theater believing I just watched a very clever comedy. Fast forward almost 30 years later, I'm 50, divorced, and somewhere along the way, I unknowingly became a member of the First Wives Club.
Welcome to 75 Vintage On Demand.
Funny how life changes a movie, because now I don't see revenge in this movie. I see grief. I don't see comedy. I see identity. And I don't see three women getting even. I see three women learning how to exist after the future they believed in suddenly disappeared. I'm Vintage, and today we're talking about the First Wives Club.
Darren, I love you.
I want a divorce.
But we just made love! Oh my God. Is there someone else?
Of course not. There's
Babe?
no rule there.
Oh my God.
That is by far one of my favorite parts in the movie. So the setup, on paper, the story is wonderfully simple. Three college friends, Annie, Brenda, Elise, each devoted years, sometimes decades, to supporting the men they loved, helping build careers, raising children, hosting dinners, making sacrifices, only to discover that once their husbands reached the top, they decided they wanted newer models, younger women with younger bodies who was living that hot girl lifestyle, right? The wives who helped build everything were suddenly treated like outdated furniture. When I was 25, that plot felt exaggerated, overly so. But now it feels painfully ordinary. One of the smartest things this movie understands is that divorce isn't just the end of a marriage. It's the collapse of an identity. Who are you when you've spent 25 years being somebody's wife? Who are you when your routines disappear, your traditions disappear, even your friendships disappear? Because here's something people don't talk about enough. Divorce doesn't just divide property, it divides communities. So this is just a quick personal reflection. When my husband and I separated in 2019 and finalized our divorce in 2020, I experienced something I never expected. Many of my friendships I thought would survive this didn't. Whether intentionally or not, it often felt as though people quietly chose sides. Some relationships simply faded away. At first, that hurt almost as much as the divorce itself, because you're grieving two losses at once. The person, yes, definitely, but also the life built around that person. In watching this movie now, I finally understand what Annie, Brenda, and Elise were really mourning. It wasn't just their marriages, it was the lives they believed would always be there. And here's why their friendship matters. Ironically, their husbands leaving them is what reunites them. And I don't think that's accidental. Sometimes life removes the people who were never meant to stay, so you can rediscover the people who were always supposed to be there. One of my favorite things about this movie is that it quietly argues something radical. Women don't have to compete with each other. They can rescue each other. And that's a message Hollywood still doesn't tell often enough. Now let's talk about younger women. I touched on this in my video, The Substance, and also in my video, Death Becomes Her. This is a new channel, so here's my shameless plug. If you like this type of content, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to let the algorithm know you would like to see more of this type of content. So, yes, younger women. The younger women in this movie aren't villains, they're symbols. They represent a culture obsessed with youth, especially when it comes to women. Men, on the other hand, are often allowed to age into power. Women are expected to age into invisibility. The husbands aren't even chasing love. They're chasing the illusion that youth can erase their own fear of getting older. That's it in a nutshell. And that's a very different story. Now, in the movie, it does have revenge, just like in the book. People remember this movie for that very reason, the elaborate schemes, the laughs, the payback. But I think the revenge is actually symbolic itself, because the greatest revenge isn't destroying the people who hurt you, it's becoming someone they no longer have the power to define. Every one of these women eventually stops asking, "How do I get back at him?" And they start asking, "Who am I without him?" And that is the real victory. Ask me how I know. This is playing out in real time in my very life. And why this movie hits different at 50, I am going to tell you why. Watching this in my 20s, I thought it was entertaining. Watching it at 50, I realized it was preparing me for conversations I didn't yet know I'd have. It taught me something I couldn't understand until life caught up with the story. Sometimes the ending of one identity is the beginning of another. The First Wives Club isn't really about divorce. It's about reinvention, about rebuilding confidence, about discovering that your value was never dependent on someone's willingness to stay. That is important, ladies and gentlemen, if this happens to be happening to you or have happened to you in the reverse. It's about you, your reinvention, your confidence, your life, your joy. This is going to be a short video because I've already come to the closing. One of the biggest surprises of adulthood is realizing that some movies don't change. We do. The First Wives Club didn't become deeper over the last 30 years. I did. Life gave me experiences the movies was talking about all along. Experiences I simply wasn't old enough to recognize. Maybe that's why certain films keep calling us back. They're patiently waiting for us until we've lived enough life to finally understand what they were trying to say. If you've seen The First Wives Club, I'd love to know whether your perspective has changed over the years. Did it feel different watching it later in life than it did the first time you saw it? If so, please leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy film analysis that explore not just what happens on screen, but what these stories reveal about us, consider subscribing to 75 VOD. Until next time, remember, some movies entertain us. Other movies stay with us. And with that, I will see you at the movies. Goodbye.